Hey guys, long time no see. Welcome back to the channel. A lot of my content had stopped at the end of October because I had gotten extremely overwhelmed with a lot of things that were going on and the upcoming holidays that were coming on. And I was not managing stress very well, so I knew I just needed to take a break and take a back seat and worry about everyday life. But this video is because in the meantime, what we did do was actually start my greenhouse addition. And that's when my kind of like my mental health started to spiral because I can't multitask very well. So we dove into building this greenhouse addition kind of off the cuff, no plans, only just a vision in my head of what it was supposed to look like. And then I just kind of did some quick math and supplies that we would need and start ordering stuff and multiple runs back to Lowe's to get other stuff that we needed and changes that we had to make. We finally got it done, but by then we were dipping so low in temperature that some things weren't able to get finished, which I'll show you in some video that's going to come up. And all in all, the structure is good. It is a 13 by 13 edition off of the current 16 by 13 edition. So we just kept the width that would project out into the yard the same, but we just made it 13 feet longer. And that was based on the set of French doors that we had currently on the greenhouse and the window that sat next to it. Things had actually changed a bit when we started placing windows. So I think it's still it's maybe like 13 and a half feet in realistically what it is, but whatever. We made a few changes as far as window placements. We had a minor setback with one of the windows that we had built. If you followed me on Instagram at any point in time, I was doing kind of some like insights of what was going on in my stories, and I should probably go back through and do like a highlight reel of them, maybe when I find a moment to do that, because that requires going back a little bit. I'll compile that, but at that moment, we had two picture windows, and one of them had broke because I was putting trim in around it, and the screw nicked the corner, and it started a crack. So in a matter of one evening, we were gonna put the window that was next to the um, greenhouse doors on the original structure into storage if we ever needed it. We ended up putting it in there, reframing and getting it put in, and it looks awesome. But at the same time, now that we're looking at it, we're like, well, this spring we're going to take out the other picture window, and we're going to take out the window that is to the right of me. I'll just turn this real quick. This window is the same one that matches across, so I'll show you that in a minute. We're going to make this a complete wall. So it'll be the same beadboard that we used inside here over and make it a solid wall inside and out. And then I can have some shelving over there to store all of the plasticware that I use for seed starting and propagation and such. So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to realign this. So let's roll the video footage of me walking out the back of the house to come down to the greenhouse so you can get an overview. So 3, 2, 1, here you go. So coming down the back of the back out of the house to come down to the greenhouse, you'll see the whole addition. You'll see that the window there is white on the front. When we dipped in temperatures, it was not feasible to go ahead and paint those windows black like the rest of them, but we will be doing that in the spring. And then you can see that picture window on the right-hand side of the double window. The other couple things that I do want to point out that we did not get finished, but we'll be getting finished in the spring. We still need to get gutters on, and we still have to paint the back end of the greenhouse and where the boxwood is sitting under the picture window. At the time we were able to paint, it had dropped down in so much temperature that it was, and we were so close to going into, winter actually, that I didn't want to risk lifting that boxwood and harming it or whatever. So I'll move that in the spring, early spring, late winter, get it moved, and then I can get the rest of that painted once we get the new windows moved over there so it matches. Um, Aside from that, we just have a few other things that will be the same as what we have on the current greenhouse, which is the gravel drip edge. We went out about a foot or so, I think maybe 16 inches of edging away from there. That way that plants weren't being into the greenhouse. It also allowed the windows to move freely, but it was also a drip edge. And I like that. It's nice to be able just to go in there and blow off the gravel. So if there's any like, leaves or whatever. And then we'll do that around the new addition, front and back. Lay gravel on the very back end of the greenhouse because we are not going to use that other than storage. And then we'll go into the flower bed from there. So let's take a walk into the greenhouse and I'll show you everything on the inside now. So here we are in the new addition of the greenhouse. Like I said, it's about 13 and a half by 13 and a half. The ceiling is hit at the halfway point of the original structure. So the height I want to say is probably about 9 foot tall. We came in with this funky chandelier just for a bit of fun and to add a little bit of modernness into what would be a traditional style of greenhouse, even though it's very simple and monochromatic, and I would still say very modern. The main point of this greenhouse was to get more natural light in for seed starting and for some of the plants that I do keep over winter, which are a lot of my succulents and plants such as like jasmine and such like that. But this will afford me extra growing space as well, and just a lot of natural light. So we went in with the polycarbonate tops. I'm sorry if my audio is off because I'm going up and down here. Maybe I'll do this. So the polycarbonate is up top here, and this allows a ton of natural light. During a nice sunny day during the winter, it actually is quite bright in here, and then it also helps heat the structure so that the heating that I do use, which we'll touch base on, isn't running all the time. This middle bench and the two back benches are actually from the previous greenhouse, and then we came in with I'll say custom built. I just built these out of 2x4s, stands up front and along the side here, and they perfectly fit a 10 by 20 seed tray in them. So all of these were sanitized and ready to go so that I could start transitioning plants over here that I was using, keeping for over winter and in preparation for seed starting. Now, it doesn't look like I have much room out here for seed starting. I'm still going through plants and trying to make choices of whether or not I need them. I've started a small little stash right here of ones that I'm just going to post up and offer anybody to come and grab. And there's going to be a few more. But this really is kind of like my collection of succulents, aka mostly my mangave and mangave and agave collection, plus a couple other plants. And after this season, some of these will not be returning either. I've had to come to terms with the fact that I don't need to save everything, and that is true. But if it's just going to sit in the greenhouse all season till winter again, and it doesn't bring me pure joy, like, oh, I couldn't live without this, it's got to go. And I'm going to use everything in here, hold me to it, out in the garden this season because we have a master gardener's tour coming through our garden this coming year. So we have a lot of projects on hand, and we'll talk about those in another video. But everything is doing really, really well in here. I really like how this all came out. I will flip the camera here in a second to show you the view this way. But we did go with the same finishes. We went in with the the 4-inch wide trim on here and the beadboard, except for I just painted the inside of this black so that it would capture any extra heat and help, heat this side of the structure, because we are going to lose more heat through this rather than our insulated roof on the other side. And this is the window I was talking about. This is a large picture window that we had picked up on Marketplace, and it had a conjoining storm window. We had enclosed, built a frame. There we go. Built a frame to match this and had it over here. And unfortunately, that's the one that cracked. So this set of windows was actually right where you are, and the doors were right here. We took this one out and quickly got it in there in a matter of like 4 hours. After we took this out, reconstruct it, and all that type of stuff. So I'm lucky that went quickly. I'm hoping that the other set of windows going into this will be just as easy, and then we can repaint and retrim it with the stuff that we have and move along. A lot of the stuff on the lower ends of here were for some like larger pots and for storage. And then on the back end here, I do have some lower light plants that I don't have room for over there quite yet, but I'm going to be making a change. And then this area will be getting cleared off, and some of these plants will make their way throughout here. That way we can have more room for starting a bunch of plants that'll be coming in, such as perennials, and then all the seeds that we'll be starting. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything I didn't touch that you can see within frame here. I did end up bringing our hose link in and moved where the hose was, so it's between the rooms so that we could easily and freely water everything. And so that it was into a stud. It was actually pulling out of the wall over there with the previous hose. So it just made sense to put it into a 4x4 over here. It's not in my way. That opening's very wide. And I'm just thrilled that I can easily get to everything. We did add a series of hooks of some plants that I knew I could just toss up and I could keep growing on. Some of them are sweet potato vines. There's a coleus, a bougainvillea, which surprisingly is turning around. I'm very excited, and it's almost done shedding all these bracts that I clean up all the time. This is the Proven Winners one. These ones are just no names. Well, they're named, but I don't remember the names. And then I have some Mizu over there and a fuchsia hanging up. Maybe in another video we can go over all the plants that I'm currently keeping over. If that interests you, drop a comment down below. But I'm going to flip the camera and just kind of show you my view from here outward into the rest of the greenhouse, so you have a full perspective of how this is all laid out. So now you're right where I was standing, and there's a few things I want to talk about real quick before we get through. There are a few things that still need painted because I have not really been out here consistently. I just come out here, check the plants, and then pretty much go inside. The main reason is because, at the time we were finishing this, and then holidays were coming up, and then we literally, as I'm filming this video as of yesterday, just threw my mom a 60th surprise party. So my life has been consumed by anxiety and worry that I wasn't going to have everything done or get everything that I needed, not only for Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that type of stuff. So I finally am at the point where I feel like I got a good night's sleep last night. I am ready to go and get back into my gardening and what needs to be done. So again, some things still need painted, and I'll have time to do that now, which I'm excited. But this was originally where our window was on the previous greenhouse. We opened this up so that when you walk into the greenhouse, you could fully pass. That's not exactly happening right now because, as you can see, I'll bring you around here in a second. I have brought my Eames chair out because this is my zone. This is where I want to come out and relax and be with my plants and get away from the house when I'm bogged down or after work when I've just had a day. But this was the opening to our door to come in, and we've opened that and finished that off. And it's really nice. So when I come into the greenhouse, I pretty much just walk this way and come into the other side. So I'm going to bring you a little further in to show you more. All right, so in this side of the greenhouse, which was the original greenhouse, You can see it's kind of a mess right now. I've got the vacuum out because I've been just trying to clean up and get ready, and there's some stuff that needs to go to the trash this way. And then a few more plants that do need tackled. I have been trying to kind of like clean and like disinfect the entire area for the season. That section is all completely done. I did get over here done. And then I'm just kind of working over here. And then I'm going to get these plants figured out what I'm going to do and then move on from there. Aside from that, not much over here has changed other than the benches are out. And I happened to come across these plant stands. They're display stands from a grocery store that was closing down, actually way past my work. And I happened to be going to collect our product from the store and ask them what happens to these when a store closes. And they're like, they just go to the trash. And the utterable gasp that I let out, and then quickly asked, could I take a set? And he said, by all means, take as many as you want. There were 4 of them. I only took 1 set, and I'm glad I did because I was regretting not getting more. But I have the next size down, and then the lowest one outside that window. The medium one or the small one is going to come back in here, but I'm going to put it against the window and then bring this larger one just forward slightly. That way I can put some of the taller plants down on that, and then I'm basically doubling up my area to put plants lower, and then I'll still have some up high. And this being this close to the window, a lot of my more shade tolerant or, tropical plants that, like lower light, even some of the perennials that I might grow will be fine over here, but all the highlight stuff definitely needs to be in that section. So like I said, I brought my Eames chair out. I can sit here, I can watch TV when, if I'm taking a break from being on my feet over at the seed starting area or the potting station. We still have a mini fridge, we still have water. And then this is, I don't know where the camera's at. I should check. Okay, you can see it. This is how the greenhouse gets heated. This is an electric in-wall space heater, room heater. I'm not quite sure what it's called. We purchased it from Lowe's. It's the biggest unit for a small space, and it is enough to heat both sides. That side does stay naturally cooler. It is 67 over here, and I thought that said 70, so that's concerning. I should probably get another one of these things ordered. This is a Govee thermometer. It's only 45% humidity in here, it looks like. But we're going to probably get another one over there, and that one can just be for cute look or whatever. Or I should just put this over there now. In the meantime, I literally just sat that over there and it's dropped a degree. So we'll check at the end of the video. But other than that, we just want to close this section off, and then I'll put some shelves up that, match this more and put all my plastics on there and any extra pots, and then be able to, I don't know, make it look better, I guess. Instead of having this shelf, I'll throw this up on Marketplace for pennies on the dollar just to get rid of it. And then we should be good. I'm really thrilled. I'm really excited about the upcoming season. I'm really excited that I have this amount of space to work with. I am grateful for my husband, for my kid, and my other kid for helping us during all of this. Everybody had a hand in it. There's still stuff to go, and I'm sure they'll help me through that as well. But I'm glad that we're able-bodied to do something like this. I'm proud that I have the confidence to go in on something like this and not only execute it once, but execute it a second time in a different design, but still attached. We have been very, very fortunate with this, and 10 out of 10 would recommend if you have the drive to want to learn to do something and are able to do something, like you're still able to move and do that type of thing, to try building it and doing it. I wouldn't say this is beginner friendly, but if you're hell bent and determined, you could do this too. I don't want anybody to think, oh wow, wish I could. You can. Ask questions. That's all I did. I watched so much YouTube. I looked up schematics on how to build walls, the proper way to build a wall. I questioned contract. Like my best friend's dad's a contractor, so I questioned him constantly. I mean, I was fortunate he popped over when we did the first one and checked in on it. He actually has not seen the edition complete, but he did pop over while we were in the framing and everything was good. Um, so I am really proud of this. I hope you guys think it came out really cool. Not that it matters because I think it came out cool and I'm happy with it. And I live with it and I love it. So we've got a lot of stuff to grow this year. I've already got seed packets all set up over there. I have my post-it notes to put on top of when we're supposed to be starting them. And we have a lot of perennials coming in here in the next month and a half, 2 months to start growing on, which is going to be a new challenge for me. I tried it last year, I had pretty good results. This year is going to be completely different because now we have way more light. And then, gosh, we have plans for some projects, pathway, possibly moving the pond, um, building some new raised beds for a trial garden, possibly. And we have a lot of plants coming as well. So we're going to be very, very busy. And I'm hoping, say a little prayer for me, say a little prayer, that all of my seed starting goes very, very well this year. We have a lot of annuals that we won't have to spend a lot of money at the store on annuals because I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by anybody. Honestly, I'm gifted items, but nobody's paying me to say anything. Um, so you're gonna get a lot of honest reviews this year and how I like things and how they perform, which I'm really excited about. Um, but yeah, I am excited for this season, and I hope you are too. I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you then.